I'm going to show you how to use a fuzz pedal, from setting it up and getting a great sound, all the way to some common problems that you might come across and how to avoid them. To set it up, connect your guitar to the pedal's input, and then your pedal's output to your amplifier's input. Then make sure that your pedal has power, either using power supply or a battery if your pedal takes them. I always recommend using a power adapter or a power bank if you're using multiple pedals, because they're much more reliable than batteries. That being said, with fuzz, you can get some really interesting sounds from a dying battery. Now that it's set up, let's take a look at the controls. And I'm using the Big Muff Pi, which is a really great entry-level fuzz pedal, but whichever one you're using, it should have similar settings. So starting off, we've got the volume, which is sometimes also called level, and this sets how loud the pedal and your guitar will be. We've got the tone, which sets the frequencies of the pedal, so turning it down gives you a more muffled sound, turning it up gives you a brighter sound. And finally, we've got sustain, which on this pedal sets the intensity of the effect. On yours, it might just be called fuzz or effects level. I've always thought sustain is a really weird label for them to use for that. Now, your pedal might have some other controls as well, like this one that can flick between different circuits. If you're not sure, I'd say check the manual, and if you don't have a copy of it, just Google whatever the pedal's name is and manual, and you should be able to find a copy. But use these controls to dial in a sound that you like. One thing that I really recommend is setting the volume of your pedal to match the volume of your amplifier, so there's no massive jump in sound when you turn it on and off. If you're using your fuzz pedal with other guitar pedals, I recommend putting it at the end of your distortion chain and just before any modulation pedals like your chorus, phases, that kind of thing. I find that gives me the best sound, but feel free to experiment. Now on to some troubleshooting. So the most common problem with guitar pedals in general is that there's no sound coming from them, and more often than not, it's just that something's not been set up correctly. So first check that the pedal and the amplifier are both on, then check that your guitar's volume's turned up, then check that the volume on your pedal is turned up, then check that you've definitely connected your guitar to the input and your amplifier to the output, and if that's still not working, plug your guitar straight into the amp to check that they're not the problem. And I'd say try it with both cables as well, so you can rule out a faulty cable. If that all works and you still can't get a sound from the pedal, then it might be a problem with the pedal itself, and I'd recommend taking it to your local guitar store. Another problem with fuzz and distortion pedals in general is them being very noisy and hissy when you turn up the effect level. And this is most likely just amplifying an existing noise in your guitar signal. So what I would do is I'd turn the pedal off and then see if you can identify what's causing that noise. If it is the pedal, then that can be caused by a faulty power adapter. Where possible, I always recommend using an isolated power supply unit, like this one here, but I would at least recommend investing in a high quality power adapter. Or you can just use the battery if your pedal takes them, but just be careful that it doesn't run out of charge when you need it most. Another thing, and this is just specific to fuzz pedals, is that they can interact really weirdly with other guitar pedals depending on where you place them. So if you're getting a really strange sound, and not strange in a good way, then just try mixing up the order and seeing if that fixes it. And that's it, your fuzz pedal should be ready to go. If you found this video helpful, give it a like to help it reach more people, and subscribe for more guitar tips. Thank you.